Hey everybody, so this is a follow-up review on the Oppo F11 Pro. I've been using this phone on and off for the past 3 weeks now. I basically got this phone the same day I got the Galaxy S10 Plus. I got it right when I got back from Spain. And to be honest, I've used these phones, side by side for the past 3 weeks. And even though the Galaxy S10 Plus is obviously the flagship device that costs like over $1,000, if a friend or family member asks me which phone they should get, I would recommend they get the Oppo F11 Pro instead. Now the reason I say that, it's not because the Oppo F11 Pro it's a better phone than the Galaxy S10 Plus per se. Like in terms of processing power, it's not close. And build quality, the Galaxy S10 Plus is obviously a little bit more premium with the curved glass OLED display and all of that. But these things do not matter that much to regular consumers. Like to a tech geek like me, someone like me, I want the most powerful phone possible because I edit a lot of 4K videos. I shoot a lot of videos in really dark situations. And I watch a lot of HDR content on Netflix, and I use a phone without a case. So to me, a premium build quality I can actually feel in the hand, it's important. But I'm in the minority. For other people, they put a phone case on their phone, so that means if a device isn't as premiumly built, it's fine. They use a phone mostly to go on Instagram and send text messages and email and stuff like that and play some games. And in terms of that, the Helio P70 chipset in the Oppo F11 Pro is more than good enough to handle everything. You don't need a Snapdragon 855 if you are just using a phone to surf the web. Go on websites, read articles, go on Facebook, Instagram, and send the occasional text messages and watch YouTube videos. And even with that said, that's not to say the Oppo F11 Pro's build isn't good. This is still glass. It's a gradient color glass that looks pretty nice to my eyes. The only area that falls a little bit short of flagships, in my opinion, is that the display panel is completely flat. And you see that there's a little bit of a sharp edge right here. So that means when you roll the phone around in your hands like this, which I do a lot, I can feel the edges of the phone, whereas when I do it with a Galaxy S10 Plus, it feels completely smooth. But is this alone worth an extra $700? No, I'd have to be freaking crazy to say that, and most people will agree. So looking at this display, this is a 6.5-inch LCD panel, and it looks really good. Like obviously it cannot beat an OLED, but it gets bright enough for outdoor use, and viewing angles are quite excellent, and colors look really sharp and punchy, and everything's well detailed. To resolution, it's a little bit above 1080p. It's a good screen. Now around the back is the star of the show. You have a 48 megapixel sensor right here with a secondary 5 megapixel depth sensor. Now this 48 megapixel sensor is not meant to capture 48 megapixel photos. Instead, you're shooting 12 megapixel photos that have 4 times the image information because this uses quad Bayer technology. Quad Bayer, it's basically how they layer the pixels so that when you shoot photos with a 48 megapixel sensor, they combine 4 pixels worth of information into one. So it's basically 48 megapixels divided by 4. So you end up capturing a 12 megapixel shot that has like 4 times the pixels and information as usual, and just everything looks very crisp, very sharp. In fact, I took a lot of photos side by side with the Oppo F11 Pro against the Samsung Galaxy S10 and the iPhone XS. And despite the fact that the iPhone and the Samsung S10 are both over $1,000, the Oppo 11 Pro can hold its own in daylight photography. So you look at this set of samples right here of the Hong Kong harbor. So you look at all 3 photos, they look very, very similar. It's kind of crazy that one of these phones is $360 while the other 2 are $1,000. And even when you zoom in a little bit, you see that the Oppo F11 Pro's image, it's a little bit less sharp, it's a little bit more heavily processed, but it doesn't fall apart by that much. Likewise, when you're taking macro shots right here, you look at this set right here, I think the iPhone XS Max's image looks the best because it managed to keep the whole frame in focus, whereas the Galaxy S10 and the Oppo F11 Pro could only focus on the flower petals that are closest to the frame. But even factoring that, the Oppo F11 Pro's image looks pretty good. And now likewise with this other shot, same thing. Even when you zoom in, details on all 3 images are very similar. Now, of course, that's because we have good lighting here. When you have good lighting, any phone above like $300 can grab a really good image. The true test is when you take photos at night or when the light is low. And in this situation, the Oppo F11 Pro surprisingly does pretty well too. For the most part, Oppo F11 Pro's image looks pretty good. Only when you go closer and pay attention do you see that, like for example, the 7-Eleven lights are completely blown out on the Oppo F11 Pro compared to the other two phones, which managed to find a better balance. But the Oppo F11 Pro actually has a trick up its sleeve, because in the camera app, if you hit this hamburger menu, you see that there's night mode. This is the same night mode that OnePlus already uses in the phones, and I think the Realme 3 uses it too. And what it does is it basically snaps 3 to 4 or 5 images rapidly. And what it does is the software will take those 4 or 5 images, stitch them together, combine all the photo information to produce one image that's brighter and more balanced. So this is taken with the Oppo F11 Pro in automatic normal mode. You see it's a little bit blown out, overexposed right here. Now, this is night mode. You see, this image is suddenly a lot better balanced. The 7-Eleven lights are completely visible and the whole image overall just looks sharper. Now you see, now it's very close. I think if you want to come nitpick, if you want to pixel peep and blow up the images, you'll still see that the Galaxy S10 and iPhone image is a little bit better than the Oppo F11 Pro because it's a little bit over processed. But who does that? Who takes a photo just to blow it up and examine on a computer? If you're actually just taking photos and uploading it to Instagram, then the Oppo F11 Pro's images, for the most part, looks just as good as what you get out of a Samsung or an iPhone XS. I mean, it's not just one set right here. I'm going to show you some more examples right now. Check out these examples. The Oppo F11 Pro's image completely can hold its own against the Samsung Galaxy S10 and the iPhone XS. Now, where the Oppo F11 Pro falls short a little bit is in video recording. Because of the Helio P70 chipset, you cannot record 4K video at all. You can only go up to 1080p, and there's no stabilization, of course. So when I'm walking, it's quite jerky and it's prone to blowing out lights. But for the most part, for $350, are you really going to complain about this video footage right here? This more than gets the job done. So battery life on the Oppo F11 Pro has been really good too, considering that, you know, the display is only 1080p and Oppo software has always been very good at battery optimization. So the software does not let me check screen on time, but I am going by my estimates getting about at least 5 hours of screen on time per day. I know because I've used this phone as my main phone with a SIM card in there for about 5-6 days, and all 6 days the phone did not run out of battery at all. So I would unplug the phone at 10 a.m. and even by midnight the phone will still have like 27% battery life. And even if you have to top up the phone, you can charge the F11 Pro very fast because it is an Oppo phone, so it supports Oppo's VOOC charging, which is the fastest charging tech in the industry. Unfortunately, Oppo still uses micro USB port here, so that's a big bummer. So yeah, that's it for now. This is my last video in Hong Kong this week. I am flying to Paris to attend the launch of the Huawei P30, and I will have one of the first videos out on that phone. So if you're interested in that device, make sure to stay tuned to this channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.